topic, and that is the long-term solutions and what can be done on a longer term. And I think the presentation from JP was a very good basis for this discussion. And things that I've picked up there is the total called privatization of energy supply. And basically, in the longer term, that is what all of us can do. On the long term, there are 5 things that I would like to highlight. And I'm going to talk quickly through them. And it's all about planning for solutions, implementation, and integration of different systems. And also solutions to make it viable in the long term. So the first thing is energy on an irrigation farm and water goes hand in hand. So the first analysis or information that you need to procure or to get is how much water do I really need in my orchard for my trees? And how can I use that water effectively? The more water you use, the more energy you need. And also, the more water you waste, the more energy you need to put that water there in the first place. Think about water ways to reduce water losses, for example, evaporation losses or ground covers, or even shade netting, and anything else that can manage your water towards your orchards very optimally. Now, that's applicable for a drought situation as well, so I think everyone is very familiar with the solutions that can be implemented there. The next one is in the water at the orchard. Let's call it there's a word I'm looking for now, the inland type of irrigation. How much water do you need at what rate at a specific tree or orchard? That will determine your flow. And the second thing that you need is what is the pressure that you need to supply at that point for your irrigation system to work. And we all know that in a pumping system, your flow and your pressure determines the required energy. So the flow is what you need. That's the amount of water that you require. But if you can provide that flow at a lower pressure, then you need less energy. So in terms of a design of the irrigation system, keep your pressures as low as possible. Then the next step is look at the water distribution network. And I know many farms get water from boreholes, rivers, dams, and so on. Transfer between those sources. And also make use of elevated sources as much on the farm. Keep some of them on top because then you have a natural battery for energy use in irrigation. So once you have that, now you can decide how much energy I need on a longer term for my irrigation. And here you can look at your energy supply sources. And Rousseau has just told us that don't just look at Eskom or solar or diesel. The best solution is normally a mixture of the lot. And in order to make use of that very optimally is to link them together, have them in one system, or that they talk to different users so that they can utilize all your energy sources in an optimal way. Then your electricity supply network is also important, so that you can share electricity between users and Eskom supply points, or even your own PV generated points or your dams. And that is then your energy side of your balance between water supply and energy for supply of water. The third point I want to touch on specifically for irrigation and also energy management on a farm is the integration of all these. You will soon find out the more you can integrate all these subsystems into a bigger system that you can manage in a whole, it will be better. And please don't forget about seasonality. If you have a farm where you have an energy load for irrigation, maybe in the summer, and the energy load for packing maybe in the winter, or more of an energy load in your housing for the winter, keep that all in mind, because the best solution at the end of the day will be a system or a solution that can cater for all those solutions that you need. Okay. Then the fourth point I want to touch on is technology. Technology improves day by day almost. We have already discussed the technology for batteries. JP has mentioned hydrogen energy that may come in the future. And the more this changing technologies are driven by the private sector, the quicker it will become a reality for us. Look at technologies in information systems. I know there's a Fruit Loop website launched a year or two ago that will be beneficial in your planning, and also other information systems that you can use. Irrigation systems, irrigation control systems are changing day by day, and the so-called smart systems are coming into play and is available. And as I've mentioned before, most of those technologies are there today in a certain extent, but it's all about how much money you will throw at it, and in terms of your business, what can be afforded. And that brings me to the last point for a long-term strategy, and that is actually to develop your strategy. Where are you now? Where do you want to be 5 or 10 years from now? Are you still going to stay with a culture of dependency on Eskom, or are you going in the other route and say, I'm going to start generating or buying my own energy and be self-sufficient in terms of energy needs, maybe with a system of Eskom as part of the package, or maybe completely off-grid. As we heard, there's not really such a thing, but that is the kind of strategy that each farmer needs to take. We have seen now from JP's presentation, things are changing. And the best way to survive this or to keep your business going in the future is to change with the changing technologies and tendencies in terms of energy supply for irrigation practices. Now, I think at this stage, I would like to invite Alex Blacker of Maton Citrus to share some of their views with us. Alex is an agricultural engineer at Maton Citrus here in Citrusdal. And they have impressed me with a long-term view and also the way that they integrate all their systems into energy solutions for irrigation on their farms.